right, Jeff, I appreciate it, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Eric.
10 months, I think, since the last time you honored me with your presence.
It's great to be here. You look great.
Yeah, thank you. You look the same.
Thank you.
Always
Thank you.
good.
Thank you.
Always perfect. Video. I mean, the guys, they never a hair out of place.
Go on with your bad self. Come on.
Yeah,
now.
right on. So I want to get an update. It's been 10 months, and in different businesses, 10 months can be a lifetime. It could be a spec. Mm-hmm. But we talked about you launching Pittsburgh Weather Now, and of course Whiteboard Weather.
Yes.
I want to talk about that. And you are obviously in the new media. This is the internet, and as you know, it goes fast. And I've watched, and there's been a lot of changes and a lot of growth, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah. Speaking of changes, obviously the world that we live in now is not the world we lived in a month ago.
No, it's not.
With the evolution of things that are running rampant across the globe. Now, as a result of that, you've seen more and more people taking to the internet and things like Facebook Live to still get their message out. People are broadcasting from home.
Right.
I take that as me being a bit of a pioneer because I'm like, I've been doing that for 15 months, people. Welcome to the party.
He has.
All kidding aside, it's been great. I mean, we talked about this last time, how this whole thing evolved and started.
Yep.
And it has continued to evolve. It's just a great way to reach people. And I have a very faithful and loyal audience. I have a core group of people that are diehard with me all the time, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. But I also have been able to branch out and bring new people in. So it's still a work in progress, as everything is, to get the message out. But the brand, I think, is strong. I think through what I've done, I think I've brought new terminology into the Pittsburgh market. Something like if I'm out at someplace at the grocery store or whatnot, and somebody comes up to me and say, hey, I love Whiteboard Weather. Whiteboard Weather, it's not mainstream, but it is a known brand and terminology.
It's mainstream in Pittsburgh.
So people know Whiteboard Weather.
Question. No question.
So I've taken that particular term, and in addition, other terms that I've spun off of that. I think I've made people wise to the concept of what I call fear casting versus forecasting.
Yeah, difference. What's the difference there?
There's a huge difference. There's a world of difference.
Talk about it.
What I do is forecasting. I take the information and I present the facts as they are, and I allow for people to take those facts and apply them to themselves as they see fit and how to react. So if I say, it's going to be cold today, 30 degrees, I assume people know how they should react when it's 30 degrees. If I say it's going to be an inch of snow, I assume people know how they should react in an inch of snow. It's not for me to tell somebody an inch of snow is the end of the world. For some people it is. For some people it is not. It's not for me to decide how I should make people react to that particular situation. Now, fear casting is a totally different thing.
Okay.
My years in television, we were urged to maybe ride along the edges of what would be considered accurate. Okay. And perhaps twist the truth a little bit and perhaps mislead a little bit. Mm-hmm. When I say that, it could be a situation like if we were coming out of a rainy period and we were going to be dry and sunny for 5 days, but day number 6, it was going to rain. Mm-hmm. I was often told to promote the rain on day 6 and forget about the sunshine and dry weather for the next 5 days. I always contended that's important. People want to know when it's going to be nice in Pittsburgh.
Of course.
So, and fear casting just takes it preys upon people's fears and tells them, oh my God, it's going to snow 1 inch. We need to shut everything down, and we need to send a reporter to the grocery store to find out how the bread and milk supplies are doing. And we need to put somebody in front of the salt pile out off of the 279 in Wexford and tell everyone that PennDOT's ready. I would always contend, please tell me when PennDOT's not ready. Uh-huh. I assume that people would assume that PennDOT's always ready.
Right.
I would assume that if it's raining, I don't have to tell somebody to take an umbrella. I would assume that if it's snowing, that I don't have to tell somebody to wear a coat. Mm-hmm. these are all, for me at least, all common sense things. And I give people the benefit of the doubt of knowing how to be common sensed.
Right. It's like almost a sensationalizing of the...
Sensationalizing the weather, yes. And it's hyping it. It's overdoing it. So that all falls under the headline of fear casting.
I don't want to go down that deep rabbit hole. I had John McIntyre on last week, and we had a great conversation about how we've watched news over the past decade or two, especially the big news services, basically fight for entertainment value, create the story within the news itself. And that's a little example of it, just a little side of it. Not editorializing, or maybe a tad of editorializing, but alarmist nature for the weather. It's just, that's a shame.
It is,
that's a real shame.
And that's what we've come to. I mean, with the world of online and digital, I've always said you look at a headline, and typically the truth lies about 5 or 6 layers below the actual headline.
Got it.
The headline is getting you to click on the story or to tune into the news at XYZ time, but the truth usually lies about 5 or 6 layers deep. When you actually click on that story or actually tune in for that story, you find out it's probably not what was promoted.
That's a shame.
Or it's loosely related to what was promoted or how it was promoted.
Let's talk about whiteboard weather for a second. So I woke up one day, I did sleep in that day, and you were doing the weather from outside of Buffalo?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is he doing in Buffalo? Oh, he does have a life. He's got to travel for his kids.
My kids have hockey,
but it never stops, huh?
Yeah,
I mean, it's a.
And when possible, I mean, since I started doing this, I have not missed too many days. Outside of holidays.
Well, sure.
But I try and be as consistent as I can, and the fact that everything originates from my cell phone for the most part, I can be as mobile as I want to be. So as long as I take along a whiteboard and some markers and my cell phone, I can give you whiteboard weather for Pittsburgh from anywhere in the country. So if I'm out of town, I try and be diligent and try and continue to give people the information that they want.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I think you were in a parking lot or something.
Outside of a hockey rink.
Yeah, exactly.
It's happened. It's happened many times, my friend. Because life goes on, and I don't want to miss those life moments.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, I'm my own boss. If I want to do whiteboard weather from a parking lot, I'll do it from a parking lot. So
10 months in, would you share a little bit with us? Are you kind of where you thought you'd be? Are you ahead of schedule? I mean, are you still evolving? And it's kind of hard to. We talked last time. It's almost kind of hard to plan.
Yeah,
because everything's so new.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't have. I mean, obviously, you have goals that you want to meet. But I mean, it's always a work in progress. I mean, there are challenges to what I do to continue to build an audience, and promote your brand and make the brand strong, and continue to do that. And then there's also the sales aspect of what I do, because we all have bills that need to be paid, and I have to find a way to monetize what it is that I'm doing through various sponsors and sponsorships agreements that I have with local businesses. So I have not been trained to be a salesman per se.
Okay.
I can promote, but I have now delved into the world of sales as well, where I have to actually reach out and sell what I'm doing to businesses to make them see the value in it in order to create revenue and monetize it and help me bring in money to pay bills. So the sales aspect of it is ever evolving, and that's always challenging to go out in addition to what I try and do every day with the broadcasts, but then to go out and try and find businesses that I think could benefit from what I'm doing, and then sell them on the concept.
Well, you acquired quite a few sponsors.
Yes.
I mean, from the time you sat here 10 months ago to the amount of sponsors you have now, significantly.
Yes, absolutely.
Increased.
So, but it's always a work in progress, always.
On your website, you talk about doing appearances. Is that talk about what kind of appearances they'd be? Naturally, I would think they'd be for children, for schools and so forth. I mean, obviously, talking about weather and meteorology and so forth. What other kind of appearances are you up for?
Well, I think just because of my 25 years on TV in Pittsburgh and my deep roots in this community, I'm a Pittsburgh guy from the day I was born. you make a lot of connections with a lot of people. So I still think my name and my brand of what I did on TV still has some level of interest.
Of course.
So I still do get requests to do some emceeing functions and things like that.
Very cool.
So, you know, I try and do as many of those as I possibly can within reason. But yeah, I still do some of the stuff that I used to do when I was on TV. It's just I'm coming at it from a different angle and a different position.
You enjoying the freedom?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
'Cause last time we spoke, that was a big positive for you.
Being available, I'll be frank with you, being available is great. And being your own boss is great, as we discussed. But there is a challenge involved. Well, my wife works from home a lot as well. She's a real estate agent. So we spend a lot of time in the same spaces. So that has, not that it's a problem,
adjustment.
but it is an adjustment to know how to give each other a certain amount of space as not to upset the apple cart too much.
And you throw kids in there too.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I've loved being available for all my kids' activities for sure.
Absolutely.
But it has been an adjustment, and that is also a work in progress.
I appreciate
I'm
the
trying
candor.
I'm trying to say it as nicely as possible.
I appreciate the candor.
There are some days when nerves get very frayed. We'll just say that, and we need to go separate ways for a little while.
I want to thank you on air here because you connected me with John Burnett, and John came in for a chat, and it was absolutely wonderful.
He's a great guy.
Absolutely. And then it wasn't long after we did that show that I tuned in, and he was on your show again. And just talk a little bit about John.
John, I mean, he's the salt of the earth, man. He's such a wonderful guy. He is the older brother that I never had. John and I share a special connection, going back 24 years. We had a lot of, conversations behind the scenes as coworkers may do, but ours was on a little bit of a deeper level. We really connected. But he is who he seems to be. If you remember John from TV, he's this happy-go-lucky sort of aw shucks guy next door, just a great dude. And whenever we're together, and he's been on the show. Whenever we're together, we're never at a loss for conversation
or comedy,
in comedy interaction. I always have to cut it short. And he and I together, I'm like the straight guy. And he is like, I got to keep him on the rails just a little bit at times. So I'm the straight guy to his. I don't want to say it's a routine because it's not. It's him.
Right.
But I try and keep him reined in at least a little bit because I'll say it, John's filter isn't always there. That's an excellent way of saying it. His filter is not always in place.
He must have been on his best behavior with his lovely wife here in the studio.
Probably was.
But she reined him in when it was necessary.
Yeah, and she and I do that job with him when we're together, when I'm with him. And I can see it coming. I've been around him a lot. I can see when we're starting to head down a road that we don't need to go, and I'll just redirect him. But no, great guy.
His
wonderful
stories
guy.
are incredible.
He's got great stories.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah,
it was a very rewarding show for me, and I appreciate you very much for
absolutely
connecting us together, and I hope to have him back again, and I'm trying to maybe talk about having both of you on at the same time.
That would be interesting.
Might be a riot.
Yeah. and now that you're connected with John, you'll be connected with John forever.
Yeah, and that's happened, and that's amazing, man. I was really looking forward to that show, but when we ended the show, it was one of those times I went home. And I was so excited to edit it because I just couldn't believe they were just edit it, produce the show.
Yeah,
just over. Number one, that he was here, and number two, that he opened up that much.
He's an open book, man.
Yeah.
He doesn't hold anything back.
That was great,
and he's very emotional too.
Mm-hmm.
If you get him talking about the right thing,
oh yeah, a couple times
the waterworks will flow, baby.
Sorry, John.
Hey, he wouldn't care. He
not
wouldn't
at
care.
all.
I said that.
So, talk about your theme song.
All right. See there, and that's part of the evolution of Whiteboard Weather. We've since I've been here last time, we added different layers, and it's been a work in progress. There's a theme song that's going to get a fresh upgrade coming soon.
Very cool.
We have a whole line of merchandise that's going to get a fresh upgrade soon. But I got connected with a local band, Good Brother Earl. Actually, the lead guy, Jeff Schmutz of Good Brother Earl, his wife cuts my hair. So that was our kind of common thread. So we created a relationship there, and I asked them if they wouldn't mind putting together a little theme song, which they so kindly did. And it's it's on YouTube if anyone wants to listen to it. Whenever they played it, I shot a little video. It's very it's sort of raw. But I was assured by Jeff recently that they're gonna. Right now the theme song has an accordion, has a real Pittsburgh feel to it. It's great.
Right.
But he's gonna spice it up. He's gonna give it a little bit more of a rock edge.
Right on.
So they're gonna redo it, revamp it. So it's gonna be the remix, I guess, of the Whiteboard Weather theme song. Remix. And then we have merchandise, which I should have worn some today, and I didn't. But yeah, we launched merchandise. We've been doing very well with that. T-shirts, sweatshirts, coffee mugs that say Whiteboard Weather and a variety of sayings. We're going to add more as time goes on, just sort of expand the shop, as they say.
Yeah, I was diving in there today, too. I couldn't believe the amount of different products you had. That was pretty quick. I mean, that grew pretty quick.
Yeah, so I mean, there's always growth potential.
No question.
It's just a matter of your vision.
No question. We're gonna jump around a little bit here. Why are
jump around?
Yeah,
jump up, and get down.
He had his coffee this morning. There's no question.
It's just coming off St. Patrick's Day. I still got that Irish thing going.
Oh, is that what
House
it was?
of Pain.
House of Pain. I remember that.
Yeah.
Wow, that took me down a different path. So I think I wanted to ask you this last time and I had forgotten. So why in the world are our skies so flipping gray in Pittsburgh? Is there an easy answer?
I call Pittsburgh this time of year the land of eternal cloudiness. And there's a meteorological reason for it. I think the 5 cloudiest cities in America, and I'm not quite sure of the order. It really doesn't matter. The 5 are Seattle, and we're talking major cities.
Okay.
Seattle and Portland are in the top 5, and Pittsburgh, Buffalo, and Cleveland, all in the top 5.
Wow.
Pittsburgh, Buffalo, and Cleveland, if you probably got out a ruler, you could probably draw a nice little triangle between the 3. So I call that the Bermuda Triangle of clouds. And there's an absolute meteorological influence based on the proximity or the location we are to the Great Lakes.
Okay.
We have mountains, if you want to use that term. They're not Rocky Mountains, but they're elevated areas to our south and east, and a lot of that plays into the wind direction as well. Predominantly, we're west-northwest, so we get moisture off the Great Lakes, and that will then hit the higher elevations, and that leads to cloud cover, so you get this Bermuda Triangle of clouds. And, on any given day, especially this time of year, when you get from November through like March, that seems to be it is our cloudiest period of the year. You get a sunny day or two in that time of year, and you're living large. But because it's predominantly a northwest flow. Now, as we get into summer, things switch around. We get more of a southerly flow. We get more sunny days.
We do?
We do. We do. Surprisingly.
Okay. He says so. You have the stats. You would know.
But there's a lot that has to do with that setup. But I'm trying to think. I can't off the top of my head. We get in Pittsburgh, and there's you can mix words here in terms of meteorological terminology. Sunny is a day that is almost cloud-free or mostly sunny.
Okay.
And then you get into partly cloudy, partly sunny, mostly cloudy and cloudy. In terms of mostly sunny or sunny, which would be mostly cloud-free days, Pittsburgh gets about, I want to say it's like 30 days of those a year. 30. And then the rest fall either into partly cloudy or mostly cloudy or cloudy. So so we live with mostly the days we get sunshine are technically not mostly sunny. We probably have clouds around those days as well. That's just in and out of the sunshine. So you get like a big cumulus cloud that blocks the sun for half an hour, and then the sun pops back out. For us, that's living large.
I mean, you grew up in this town. You were very familiar with the phrase "partly cloudy" by one of the
Partly cloudy skies. Joe was right up the hill.
Right, that's right. That's exactly right. Unbelievable. All right, another crazy question for you. So, talk a little bit about the differences between a weather warning and a weather watch.
Well, we're getting into severe weather season, so this is always something I would try and teach kids. And I think for the most part, a lot of people get it. But I always use the analogy of baking cookies. We all love cookies, right? Mm-hmm. But when you bake cookies, you have the process where you lay all the ingredients out. And I'm not talking about making cookies where you cut it from the Pillsbury Doughboy thing. Right. I'm talking about making cookies from scratch, where you get, the chips are here and the butter is here and, all the things that go into...
Old school.
Yes. All the ingredients are laid out. That is a watch.
Okay.
All the ingredients are there. Okay. You don't have cookies, but you have the ingredients for cookies there. That's a watch. A warning, now we've put all the ingredients together and we've baked the cookies and we have them. Now we can eat them. There's actual cookies here. So we've gone from ingredients to a cookie. The warning is the cookie.
So if a tornado warning, the tornado is here or around the area.
Or severe thunderstorm warning, that means we got the cookie.
Got it.
A watch is we have the ingredients.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's
breaking it down as simplistic as I possibly can.
And I need that. That's
a watch is the ingredients. The warning is the cookie. So dive right in. Grab yourself a cookie.
Oh, man. Okay, I can get that. That's good. I can wrap my head around that.
And that could be for anything. It's not just for tornadoes or thunderstorms. That can be for floods as well. The same principle applies between watch and warning, no matter what.
Well, what goes into...
And there's a difference, I should mean, flooding, because that's always an issue around these parts with all of our rivers and tributaries and whatnot, streams, creeks, whatever you want to call them. We get too much rain too fast, and we've had a lot of rain the last 2 years. Oh, my God. We've had, and I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, we've had 3 years of rain in 2 years.
Wow.
So we're about a year ahead. We've got enough in stockpile to last us for a whole year. 2 years ago was the rainiest or wettest year on record, and then 2019 was like the third wettest year on record. So the last 3 years, we've had the top and like the third wettest years on record.
Okay.
Anyway, I digress. The difference between, and there's important to know, between a flood warning and a flash flood warning. Okay. There's a difference between flood and flash flood. Flash flood is pretty much what it sounds like. It is water rising rapidly and then receding rapidly. That's what happens when you get one of those downpours. It gives you like an inch of rain in 30 minutes. The catch basins in the sewers, they can't handle that amount of rain and runoff in that short period of time. So you get rapid rise in water, and then you get rapid fall. As quickly as it rises, usually 30 minutes later, it's gone. Okay. Because everything catches up because the rain stops. Flood is a longer duration event. That's what happens to our rivers. When you get a lot of rain over a period of time, all the streams and creeks eventually make their way to one of the big rivers, and then you see gradual rises. Okay. So a flash flood is an immediate rise. A flood is a more gradual rise, and it's elongated over a longer period of time. Okay. A flood can be over the course of 3-4 days, where a flash flood can be over the course of 30 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
So shorter duration, longer duration.
A flood's probably a bigger event as well, too.
Yeah, right? It impacts more people because, if you're talking about rivers flooding, then, it's larger bodies of water that usually involve floods.
And flash floods happen quickly, naturally, because of how fast the rain comes.
Correct.
Not a lot you can do about it.
And, this, you see, my brain's working now. This is not that it doesn't work all the time. But this is an important point because I think I've heard from a lot of people, it seems like we're getting more flooding issues here. Well, that's, obviously a byproduct of how much rain we've had the last 2.5 years. But also something to take into account. Pittsburgh has been and will continue to be a developing area. So even with the amount of rain, you have to take into account, 20, 30, 40 years ago, a lot of places that are now developed were not, which means that there were more trees, there was more soil, there were more things to soak up water. Whereas now, if you had a shopping complex that goes in above the hill above you, that used to be woods, and if it was woods, it would rain and probably just soak into the ground. Now, if that's a concrete jungle up there, that water can't soak into the ground. It runs off.
Right.
So the runoff happens more rapidly, and there's probably more runoff now than there was, say, 20 years ago.
Got it.
And that's partly due to, it's all because of development. So that's another part of the equation as well. Yes, we've gotten a lot of rain, but we've also seen an awful lot of development over the course of the last couple of decades, which obviously impacts the runoff, the amount of runoff, where the water goes.
See, I learn something new every day. That's pretty much
that's digging a little deeper, but it is absolutely 100% accurate.
Today. Well, and that's just goes to show you how incredibly important civil planning is in conjunction with developments and making sure the runoff is done correctly and so forth. It could be devastating effects if it's not. Yes.
And a lot of that, you talk to people and they're like, it's never flooded this way before. And then the next question I would ask that person is there any new development around here?
Got it.
And inevitably, 9 times out of 10, they say, yes, actually, there has been. Well, that's part of the problem.
All right, so you have made the career move from traditional media, television, the big one. Now you've had a little time in this new media, the web. What have you learned as a business owner? And also as a local personality and someone building your own personal brand in this space.
I have learned the importance of social media. Now, it depends on the day you talk to me. I mean, social media can be so wonderful. It's such a way to gather information.
It's always wonderful.
And gather it so quickly.
I get it.
And gather it so quickly. I mean, I use this example. I gave a talk at my son's middle school about social media literacy to a lot of kids.
Social media literacy.
Yes.
And what was that talk about?
How to navigate social media, how to use it, what each of the platforms are for, you have a different audience on Facebook than you do on Instagram or TikTok, and how to use each one to maximize, what it's capable of and the audience that it reaches.
Okay.
But when I was talking to the kids, I always would give them the example of social media. When I was in Buffalo, that was when the Kobe Bryant tragedy occurred. And 20 years ago, before social media, I probably would not have known about that tragedy until many, 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 many hours later. I found out about it as I was standing in a hockey rink outside of Niagara Falls about 5 minutes after the news came out, because of social media. So social media can be wonderful in the way that it gets information to people more quickly. And that's how people are now being trained to get their information, especially the younger generation.
Right.
You talk to anyone under the age of 30 and they don't watch TV.
I know.
They either gather their information on social media or they're off to YouTube or Roku or Hulu. I
still can't get rid of that Comcast bill in my household, though, for some reason.
But that's the way the next generation is being reared, and that's how they're coming up.
Absolutely.
So the importance of social media, whether you like it or not, it's here to stay.
Okay.
And it's probably just going to continue to evolve. So I've learned that is the information gathering wave of the future. But the future is the present. So it's just going to continue to grow and grow and grow. So if you want to, you have to get your space now, claim your space, put your flag down, and start building for the future.
You have to jump on too.
Yes, absolutely. It's very important. So it's highly important to at least be active in some capacity on social media.
Facebook's been your big one, is that right?
Facebook, because of the live capability.
Right.
But I'm very active on Twitter and Instagram as well.
Twitter.
Yes. And I have.
God bless you.
I have a TikTok account too, just because I need to know what my kids are into. I'm trying to be a good dad too. So I want to know when they say they're on TikTok, I want to know what they're on.
What it is. Yeah, I tried that with Snapchat and immediately got rid of it.
I've never gotten to Snapchat.
Yeah, I tried that for about a week and got off of it.
But even in LinkedIn, they all have they have certain reaches.
Absolutely right. And LinkedIn, I think, is tremendous in its own right. It's supposed to be geared more toward business
professionals. Yes.
Yeah, and I think generally they do a relatively pretty good job of doing that. Facebook though, I checked this morning. You're just about 25,000 followers on Facebook. I have to commend you, sir. That's very, very impressive.
Thank you. Very
impressive.
It's been building, and hopefully continues to build.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about the order of the day. So someone that's just maybe is hearing this for the first time. Your operation. You do Whiteboard weather via live stream.
Yes.
And is it through Facebook? Is there any other venues you use, or just Facebook?
Through Facebook Live.
Okay.
That's the live broadcast, and those are done Monday through Friday, 7 a.m., which is more geared toward just that day.
Right.
The 7 a.m. broadcast talks about what to expect that day.
Right.
And it sort of throws in a couple nuggets about what might be coming or just something interesting. Mm-hmm. And then the 3 o'clock broadcast is more of a longer range outlook, where I cover like the next 5 to 6 days. So it's a little bit more in depth in the actual forecast period. It goes longer periods of time. Mm-hmm. So 7 and 3, Monday through Friday, live stream on Facebook. Now, it's important to note you don't have to watch live.
Right.
You can if you want to, and I get many people that do. But after the broadcast ends, the second it ends, it goes into a post that you can watch. So I always tell people you can watch live or at your leisure, because we know people are active. We talked about social media, and people either don't have the time or don't want to wait until a certain time of day, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, to get their information.
Right.
So even the 3 o'clock broadcast, by 3:15, it is available. And I've had people tell me, well, I'm sitting at a soccer field, or I'm sitting in a hockey rink, or I'm sitting in a doctor's office, or, I'm driving with my spouse. They're not driving and watching at the same time, but their spouse is watching in the passenger seat. So they're on the move, and they're still getting the information they want at their leisure, whenever they can sit down and actually watch it. So it is on demand as well, as you like to say. But I'm also very active on Twitter and Instagram. Not so much I do post short videos from time to time on those particular social media platforms, but also I'll post a still image of the whiteboard.
Got it. Yeah.
Just for people who just want to look at the whiteboard. They don't even have time to sit down and listen to a broadcast, so they just look at the whiteboard, and I try and give it all to them right there.
And 3 p.m. is I think it's a great time. It's a great time to come with that information, because like you said, it's the heart of the, for parents, it's the heart of the afternoon, and oftentimes that involves activities, whether it's inside or outside. And it's really beating the competition in terms of getting the information to market.
You think that was done by mistake?
I don't think so. But yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense, and I find it easier for me because I work a lot of nights, and so by the time I would want to go catch the local news, it just isn't available to me. So 3 o'clock, selfishly for me, works out fantastic.
Well, maybe you can watch it at 5 o'clock though. If you're not available till 5,
always there, yeah,
or 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, whenever you're available to watch it, it's there.
You have a project this afternoon. That's why he has to cut it short with us a little bit today. But what are you doing today?
I am with the quarantine that a lot of people are abiding by, and kids are off school as a result. I thought it was a good opportunity to reach out to kids and maybe give parents a break for at least a little while, to educate through my form. To just do a little bit of a weather lesson for kids of all ages. Well, what I'm planning on doing is talking about various just core weather information, maybe a little extra weather information, just maybe a half an hour weather lesson to teach kids. It could be a second grader or a seventh grader. But I hope to have information that's relevant to everybody, or even adults. Right. I've invited adults to join. They want to learn a little bit more.
We're probably on that level when it comes to weather.
So I'm calling it the online interactive weather classroom on Facebook Live.
Okay. So it's going to be a regular thing?
We'll see. Depends on how long. Hopefully, we'll see how it evolves. So this is, it's sort of a new venture
Okay.
that I'll launch, and we'll see how it goes. And if the kids continue to be at home, then we'll maybe do it once a week at least, and maybe more as time goes on. We'll see how it's received.
Interactive, so they're gonna have the ability to ask questions.
Yes.
I mean, 'cause that's gonna be hard for you, pal. Because I can tell you, I watch your live stream often, and I say, "Hey, Jeff," and there ain't no way you're seeing me because they're just coming constantly.
The comments do come in. I put out ahead of time anyone that had a specific question,
Okay.
like the day before,
Got
to
it.
post in the comments, and I'll go through and read those and write those down.
Got it.
But on the fly, it is hard to keep up. I do the best that I can, but I also, like just in my daily 7 a.m. and 3 p.m., I will go back and review as many of the comments as possible. And if somebody had a question, I'll
Right.
try and answer that with a reply.
Right.
If I don't answer it when I'm doing the broadcast, I try and go circle back and try and just write a quick reply into the comments.
So this will just be on open Facebook Live today. right?
Facebook
Available
Live,
to anyone.
yeah,
Available to anyone.
absolutely. And the more the merrier, as I say. It could be a second grader, it could be a seventh grader, it could be a 70-year-old. The more the merrier. Let's learn a little bit about Wedgwood. Let's educate ourselves.
Educator. Yeah, there you go. So, did you find enough toilet paper? People want to know because I didn't. By the time I was very late on the draw, and there was nothing.
This 2020 has been an interesting year.
Yes, it has.
For many reasons. I will never fully ever understand the run on toilet paper for this particular pandemic. It's not like this is you can swear right on here.
Of course.
Yeah, it's not like the coronavirus gives you the shits. So I don't understand what 144 rolls of toilet paper is accomplishing.
I don't know.
And it's a head scratcher to me. And in addition to that, I mean, I understand like the sanitary or the wipes, and I get that. The toilet paper, I'll never understand.
It's the new currency.
It is the new currency. There was a video going around. I don't know if you saw it. It was very funny. It was making the rounds of a guy driving up. He was videoing from his car, and they made this funny little video. Driving up to a corner, and there was a guy on the corner standing there like in a dark jacket. And he's like, are you Bob? And he's like, who are you? He's like, Joe sent me. What's the password? What was the password? Life is a beach because of Corona. He said,
okay.
Life's a beach. And he said, do you know how much? And the guy, you all see how the guy reaches in his glove compartment. He pulls out like a big stack of money. It's like a deal going down.
Yeah.
He hands the guy money. The guy reaches into his jacket. He pulls out one roll of toilet paper. He reaches into his other jacket, pulls out a bottle of Purell, and hands the guy. And then he says, "All right, get out of here. This never happened." Which is not far, perhaps, from the truth.
No. It's the toilet paper thing I don't understand. Like, I don't know how, no matter what calamity happens in society going forward, hopefully none, but whatever happens going forward, people will immediately rush to buy toilet paper.
I don't get it. I don't. Do you going through that much toilet paper? If you're going through that much toilet paper, you got a problem way before coronavirus. And the other thing.
Oh man.
And I don't. We're certainly not making light of the tragedy.
No.
But
just the toilet paper.
You have to find at least some humor where you can.
Absolutely.
I mean, we can't. Laughter is the best medicine for anything. The other thing that I noticed, my wife had wanted a couple of bottles of white wine with the wine and spirit stores closing down. So I went, whatever day that was, to get her. I was out in the morning to get a couple supplies, and I stopped the wine and spirit store was there, and I called her and I said, "What do you want?" And the wine and spirit store apparently opened at 9 a.m. I got there, unbeknownst to me, I assumed it was 9, but I got there about 4 minutes before 9 o'clock. There were a line of about 100 people outside waiting in the rain to get in the wine and spirit store. Once the doors opened, it was mayhem.
Wow.
People just running everywhere. And I had and then you had to wait in line, obviously, to check out. And I had 2 bottles of wine. That's all I had. 2 bottles of Sauvignon Blanc. When I tell you that by far I had the least amount of alcohol of anybody in line,
Of course.
it was amazing. People had boxes, carts full of not only wine, but booze. And I'm not talking the fifth, I'm talking the double fifth size.
Right.
I mean, just booze was flying out the door. So I am firmly understanding that if you don't contract coronavirus, and I don't want anyone to, that the next thing in line that is going to be our physical impairment is going to be cirrhosis of the liver.
Yeah. and then probably, I'm going to probably guess there's going to be a lot of pregnancies as well too. I think
There will be a spike around Christmas for sure. Yes, all that booze, all the time. No sports on TV.
No sports on TV.
What are you going to do?
I don't know, but the kids are home.
You're going to put on Luther? You're going to put on Freddie Jackson? And you're going to go at it, baby.
That's great.
You are my lady. Yes, you're my
man.
love. Let's bring Freddie Jackson back.
Freddie Jackson.
Man,
He's
he was
still around?
I don't know. He was a crooner, though.
Luther Vandross was a crooner.
He
We're
was.
from roughly the same era.
Yes. Put on some Luther. Put on some Freddie Jackson.
Who's the other guy? Barry White.
Barry
A
White.
little before our time, but Barry White.
Oh, but Barry. He had the pipes, baby. Barry White, baby.
This was fun, man.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Teddy Pendergrass.
Teddy Pendergrass, yeah.
There's
That's a
another
good
one.
James Ingram.
James Ingram.
Teddy Pendergrass was good. He died tragically, didn't he?
I don't know.
I think he did. Yeah. Going back a ways.
Teddy had some pipes.
Had some pipes. That old R&B stuff was amazing.
Oh, Babyface.
That's a little newer for
But
me.
that's all right. That's still good stuff.
You're quickly 87.
I'm
right?
87.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm 83. So there's a 4-year difference there.
Babyface is still good though.
Yeah, that was like I was in college by then. I was kind of out of that mode.
Who doesn't need Babyface in college?
And then I proceeded to immediately flunk out. It's all Babyface's fault.
Because we could head down a road here. Because if you weren't listening to Babyface when you had a girl over, then you were listening to Def Leppard. Pour Some Sugar on Me.
Probably, yeah. There's probably some
Which doesn't really set a mood.
No, the videos were amazing.
They were, but it doesn't really set the mood.
Neither did Motley Crue.
You turn the lights out and you got Motley Crue, yeah, smoking in the boys' room, as opposed to Babyface. I don't know.
It's kind of a no-brainer. Yeah, on that aspect too. Yeah. How we get there, I have no idea.
We talked about the people getting busy.
Yeah, and that's probably going to happen December, right? I mean, December, January.
Love
babies.
the one you're with.
Oh, yeah.
Not me. I mean, I love my wife, but we're all filled up on kids. We're good, man. We're good.
Make sure she knows that.
We're good. We're good.
Unbelievable. I appreciate it, man.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out.
Come back and see me in a couple more months. We'll do this again.
Absolutely. Well, maybe we'll have a threesome.
I think it'd be amazing. Yeah.
See what I did there?
I did. Yeah. Did you see a natural tie-in with that? Yes, I did.
Maybe we'll have a threesome and we'll bring Burnett in.
You hear that, John? Thanks, buddy.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right, we'll see you. Hey, before you go, let's tell the folks how they can reach you.
On social media, you can find me on Twitter at Verz, Verz. On Instagram, I'm at J Verszyla, last name Verszyla, and on Facebook at Jeff Verszyla Weather.
Or go to Google and just type in his name.
Or YouTube. We have
YouTube.
a YouTube channel. It's
Right
Whiteboard
on.
Weather on
Good for
YouTube.
you.
So the YouTube channel is doing okay.
So when you when the Facebook Live video is done and it's loaded there, do you just transfer it over?
Transfers right over
Excellent.
to YouTube.
Okay.
Yes. So
There
all
you
the
go.
Whiteboard, if you're not a Facebook person, you can find it on YouTube as well. All the Whiteboard Weather
Got it.
segments get transferred
Got
right
it.
over to YouTube.
Or just Google his name. If you can't find him, you're not looking hard enough.
Get on that Google machine and that.
Whiteboard Weather, and of course Pittsburgh Weather.
Pittsburgh Weather Now is the website. PittsburghWeatherNow.com, and that is sort of the mothership. A lot of everything we do goes through there as well, and there are a lot of great sponsors. And I always ask that when possible, that if you support Whiteboard Weather and Pittsburgh Weather Now that you also, when possible, support some of the
100%.
fine sponsors that support me.
100%. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. We are out.